Welcome to Revelation Unraveled. I'm your host, William Tapley, also known as the third eagle of the apocalypse, and the co-prophet of these end times. Well, I received another very interesting comment on my last video. It didn't have to do with the video, but let me read this to you nonetheless. And this is from Bobby Bacha, and I'm not sure how she pronounces her last name. It's B-A-C-H-A. That could be Baca or Bacha. And here's what she wrote. I found another unusual Geico number 44 confirmation just out. But the man dancing was wearing a shirt with number 30. But he was dancing to number 44. And then she added, it's definitely a sign of 44, the Leopard King. And as you, my subscribers, know full well, Barack Obama's number and the United States number in Bible prophecy is 44. That's because the leopard has 4 heads and 4 wings in Daniel chapter 7, verse number 6. And of course, Obama is the last king of the South in Daniel 11, verse number 40, and he will lose World War III to Vladimir Putin, the last king of the North. And Bobby continues, but why was the number 30 dancing to 44? It was a red shirt with number 30 on it. So, okay, without any further ado, let's take a look at this new Geico commercial.
15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Everybody knows that.
Well, did you know that former pro football player Icee Woods will celebrate almost anything?
Number 44.
Woo! 44, that's me!
Get some cold cuts, get some cold cuts, get some cold cuts.
Woo! Give me some!
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
44, ladies, that's me! Woo! Gonna get some cold cuts today.
Now, I doubt very much if the people who made this Geico commercial realized that they were verifying Bible prophecy. But that's what is happening here. First, let's take a look at the man dressed in white behind the meat counter. What's very interesting is his name, because he is doing the work of an angel. That's why he's dressed in white. And his name is Justin. And you can't really see the in part. In other words, this is a just pronouncement. But who does Icee Woods, number 30, the man in red, represent? Well, it's interesting that he does his victory dance when he hears the number 44. And in Daniel 11, the last king of the north, Russia, Vladimir Putin, is provoked by the last king of the south, number 44, who represents Barack Obama and the United States. But I also believe that number 30, the man in red, symbolizes another beast. Remember, the whore of Babylon in the book of Revelation, which is primarily Britain and America, is destroyed in 1 hour by the scarlet beast. And the scarlet beast symbolizes international communism. And I think Icee Woods symbolizes a third beast. Notice the number 30. In this case, however, I don't believe the 0 is significant. However, the bear in Daniel 7, one of the 3 beasts which come up out of the sea, has 3 ribs in its mouth. And those 3 ribs symbolize the 3 beasts, the bear, the lion, and the leopard. In other words, Russia will defeat not only Britain and America, but will destroy herself in World War III. However, there is one even more fascinating aspect of this Geico commercial. When Icee Woods spikes the frozen meat, as he would if he were playing football, what does that frozen meat represent? Now, we know it's meat because he is shopping for meat. That's why he is buying, at this time, cold cuts. And we know it's frozen because when it hits the floor, it makes a very loud sound, a very violent, explosive sound. But what kind of meat is this? Let's take a closer look at the sign over Icee Woods' head. Notice the sign says kosher meats. This meat that Icee Woods throws to the ground, that spikes in the end zone, represents the nation of Israel. Israel will also be destroyed in these end times because she has accepted the support of the whore of Babylon. She has adopted all the decadence of the West. And so we see that Icee Woods represents a fourth beast, this time another bear, a she-bear that comes out of the woods, notice, out of the woods, in 2 Kings. And that bear mauls 42 youths. That is an end times prophecy of how the Russian bear will maul the nation of Israel. None of this is accidental. This is a prophecy from Almighty God, a verification of His words in the Bible. So, in conclusion, as I said at the beginning, I doubt if the makers of this Geico commercial really understood what they were doing. However, it's more than coincidence that there are so many aspects of Bible prophecy that we see reflected in this advertisement. And once again, I want to thank Bobby Bacha for alerting me to this advertisement. And if any of you, my subscribers, when you see significant examples where the number 44 is used in video commercials, please let me know. And as always, if you would like more information about my ministry, please visit my new ThirdEagleMedia.com website.